So what did you think of WrestleMania and the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania? Well, that's what this show is for. Let's get everything going right now.
Welcome to the WWE Podcast, your number one source for the latest in WWE news and straightforward analysis. Are you ready to get this thing going?
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
Then let's get this show started right now.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the WWE Podcast Mailbag. A little late. I know it is late. I've gotten comments already, but it's better late than never. And there's a lot to get to today as we are closing out WrestleMania week. We get to hear your thoughts, the listeners' thoughts. Lord knows you've heard mine. So it is time to just get into it and hear your thoughts. And we're going to start off with Jim in New York, who is taking advantage of priority placement in the Mailbag show by getting his message right up front. And you can do the same by joining us at patreon.com/WWE podcast. You can get your message right up front in the beginning of the queue. And check us out there. For $1 a month, you get all the podcasts ad-free placement, priority placement in the Mailbag, shout out, among a lot of other cool stuff. So as I look at this, actually, it was Jim's email from last week. So I almost answered your question twice last week and this week, Jim. So how about that? You almost got placement twice. But all right, well, let's move on to our emails then for the week. And let's start with our email from Dennis. And Dennis wrote to us. Now, again, guys, some of this was before we saw the results of WrestleMania. So, of course, hindsight's 2020. But we're going to read them anyway. So Dennis says, "Hi, Matt. How are you? I'm emailing you as I'm listening to your WrestleMania preview show with Mimi and Anthony. You guys are saying the card is lacking star quality. I suppose you are referring to Cena, Lesnar, etc. My question is, isn't it better that the talents are getting the first-time matches at WrestleMania? I'm very happy to see Cesaro, Big E, Cruz getting multiple singles matches, proving how great they are because they are, and can be used better throughout the year. I can see Lashley retaining and wrestling Lesnar at SummerSlam, and I think Reigns will retain also tomorrow night. Yes, it's 9:15 on Saturday evening in Ireland. Have a great weekend. Enjoy WrestleMania." Well, thank you, Dennis. Of course, guys, again, this is all pre-WrestleMania. Some of this is. Dennis, my question, or my answer to your question about star quality being lacked in WrestleMania. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what we're referring to. It's not really the current talent. It's more of the mega stars of yesteryear that we're used to and accustomed to seeing at WrestleMania. It's not necessarily a slight on the stars of today, because the fact is, really indisputably, that they're not as big as those names. Lesnar, Cena, Rock, Austin, Taker, occasionally Triple H. They're just not as big. And that's, I guess, what we're not used to. And that's okay, as you said. It gives the talent of today a chance to shine without having to lean on the talent of yesteryear. So I totally agree. You have a follow-up and you say, to my previous email, why didn't they have the women turmoil match on SmackDown WrestleMania instead, and have the Fatal 4-Way SmackDown Tag Team title match on the main show? So the women's turmoil match on SmackDown WrestleMania instead, I don't know why they didn't. You would think that in the precedence of how they view championship opportunities versus number one contenderships, it would be the other way around. But I think that, well, number one, the SmackDown Tag Team titles not even being on WrestleMania is an embarrassment, number one. Number two, the SmackDown, the women not getting enough matches on the show, I think would have angered some people. So I think that while the titles should take precedent over a number one contenders match, any championship should, the fact that the women needed to have a little bit more of a showing on WrestleMania probably took precedence over the SmackDown Tag Team titles. So that's probably why. Thank you, Dennis. And let's keep going with the emails. This is Terry from Tennessee, specifically Springfield, Tennessee, if you want to go and hunt him down. Of course, I'm joking, but he says, "Hope all is well. Let me say that WrestleMania was pretty good. Not the greatest, but still good. Glad Lashley and Roman Reigns retain the belts. On that note, do you think Big E could be next in line for a feud against Reigns since he dropped the IC title? And I have to say Rollins versus Cesaro was the best match of the weekend in my opinion. I want to pepper you with a bunch of things, but I can go on and on about Brooks' wardrobe malfunction. Yeah, I did notice that. I didn't even bring that up. Bad Bunny decent in-ring performance, and to the confusing storyline with The Fiend and Alexa Bliss and Orton, but glad the fans were back. It made the event more exciting to watch. And once again, but what are your thoughts? And thanks again for reading my email. And let me add, I almost forgot how good Sami Zayn was until Mania. Yes, I think we all need to recognize that Sami Zayn is not just a comedy heel character, which doesn't, if he's a comedy heel character, is that really a heel? That's like saying an entertaining heel. It's very kind of oxymoron-ish, isn't it? But, okay, so that's my point about Sami. I think he's definitely kind of being relegated to a quote comedy heel, if there is such a thing. But yeah, I'm glad about Lashley and Reigns. I agree. And I'm glad you brought up the point about Big E, because I made this point several times in the last, week. I've been doing show. I think like a week straight I've been doing podcasts now, but I think it could be one of the best things that ever happened to Big E. I know people are down on it. People are down on Big E losing the IC title. He didn't have a fair run. He's a bigger star than Apollo Crews. What's going on? Again, I would like to remind you, it is not necessarily a demotion if somebody loses a championship. It could be just a replacement of that individual to a higher level. He can't be in the IC title picture and the WWE and or Universal title picture if he's got the IC belt. Yes, they do double championships, but it's more the exception than the rule, where you have somebody carrying the IC title and a WWE or Universal title. It's been done before, but it's very rare. I mean, you have Becky Lynch famously done it. Bayley and Sasha Banks have been double champions. Seth Rollins was a double champion, I think, a few SummerSlams ago. So it's been done. I think he was a double champion when he faced Sting, an injured Sting during that match. But it's rare. So my point is, Big E being out of the Universal title picture, out of the IC title picture, may give him an opportunity to move in to the Universal title picture against Roman, who does need new opponents going forward. But once we get past Backlash, that's where I see Roman Reigns getting a new, fresh set of opponents, because you can't have a pay-per-view called WrestleMania Backlash and have all new storylines, because then it's not really WrestleMania Backlash, is it? No, it's not. So I think after next month, starting in June or so, once the Money in the Bank pay-per-view starts, you'll start to see Big E move in that direction. So, yeah. Thank you so much, Terry, for your email. Looking forward to your next one next week. Alrighty, let's keep things rolling on here. Not too many emails this week, guys. Not a bad thing. I like hearing from you and not me talking. My voice is starting to go. So, all right. This one is also from Dennis, and he says, first of all, Dabakeda will now be known as Commander Aziz. I must say I enjoyed both nights of WrestleMania. I thought Orton versus Fiend was complete garbage. I thought Bad Bunny was very impressive. Cesaro versus Rollins stole the show on night 1, and the triple threat was the best of night 2. What do you think? So, if he's Commander Aziz, that's why they didn't tell you who he was, even though we all knew this is Dabakeda, which tells me when they don't tell you the name, they're giving him a new name. So, you're probably right. As far as Orton Fiend, it was complete garbage. I've just dissected this at length with several different co-hosts, I think 3 or 4 times, so I don't want to rehash it. But yeah, it was garbage. Straight garbage. There's no excuse for it. Bad Bunny was very impressive, I agree, and I eat my words. Cesaro and Seth Rollins stole the show on night 1. I would say they were number 2 to Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks completely crushed it in the main event. I have to give them credit where credit is due, but they're a close second. I agree. But Triple Threat was the best of night 2. There's no question. The Triple Threat was as good as you would hoped it would be. It gave all 3 guys during the match a hope spot, and a believable hope spot. It wasn't just it's going to... Everybody in a Triple Threat gets that moment where they have an opportunity, right? That's just the structure of Triple Threats. Somebody... always gets an opportunity where they could win. But this The way it was structured on Sunday night made it believable. They thought it out. It was well executed. It wasn't just your, kind of broad, unthought through type of opportunity for each person. So yes. You also say from a later email, the next day you emailed us, it looks like, and said, just to answer Mary's question regarding WrestleMania 29, that match was against the Shield against Orton, Sheamus, and Big Show. So thank you. Thank you, Dennis, for clarifying that. And I'm sure I'll hear from you soon. Okay. Oh my. Okay, DJ Kuzmo. Here we go. Wow, you've got quite a bit here, but we'll get through it. So, hey, Matt and podcast family, this is DJ Kuzmo. Here are a few things I learned from WrestleMania 37. Point number 1. WrestleMania should remain a 2-night event going forward. I love how you structured this. It almost looks like you wrote a paper for college. It's very well done. It gives fans both watching it at home and live in the arena a chance to take a breather and not be so overwhelmed and exhausted from all the wrestling matches. And it gives the wrestlers and bookers an opportunity to extend a bit of time in non-title matches or matches that might have not been on the main show. Case in point, both stellar wrestling matches this past weekend were KO versus Sammy, Seth versus Cesaro, and these match night might not have gotten enough time if it was on one night of WrestleMania. So your point number 1? Yes. I think most fans like a 2-night event. But as much as we may like it, I think WWE is going back to a 1-night event. I think. They're going to have 80,000 people in Dallas next year. They've already opened Texas fully. Texas is 100% open. It's like the pandemic didn't exist. So they will have a massive 80,000 people event there. And as much as, again, we like it, and you're bringing up good points, that it's not so tough to digest and that it's not so exhausting. And even the most ardent fan is exhausted by, halfway through the show. You're like, oh my God, right? You still have 7 more matches to go. We had 14 matches, by the way, total in WrestleMania. 7 matches a night is totally doable. 14 is absolutely insane. But I fully expect them to go back to that format next year. I just do. Point 2, book an arena with a retractable roof. Having that epic rain delay on Saturday caused fans to get restless and annoyed. Fans paid their hard-earned money to see this live, and WWE, you always say you're here to put a smile on your face, so at least the most decent thing you could have done is book an arena with a retractable roof. Well, that's easier said than done, I gotta say. Retractable roofs are not very common. Biggest reason? They're insanely expensive. Insanely expensive. It's not easy to find a retractable roof stadium in a state that didn't restrict that type of volume of people gathering together. As we know, Florida is more of an open state. Texas would have been a more open state. Plus, I mean, they already had it contracted with Tampa from last year, making good on this year's promise to have a WrestleMania there, at least a 1/3 full WrestleMania. So it's not as easy to find that stadium, especially in a pandemic, again, with all the restrictions going on, to find a state that would allow it. And again, there's not a massive a big pool of candidates of retractable roof stadiums. Extremely expensive. So that's why there's so few of them. But I understand what you're saying. It would make it so that there's never going to be a delay because of weather. Point number 3, book more matches and storylines for Tamina. Everyone that was there live in Tampa and watching at home, including yours truly, were rooting for Tamina in the tag team title match on Sunday. Hello, WWE, can you please book Tamina better? If not a heel, then probably a face. Tamina and Natalya have been in the WWE for such a long time, they've paid their dues, so the least WWE could have done is make Tamina and Natalya new tag champs. I really hope to see more from Tamina. I think that WrestleMania may have opened the eyes of not just management, but fans, and said, hey, we've got a good talent here, an untapped talent. And I think they should keep her babyface because they've kept her a heel almost every single time we've seen her. She gets, before, of course, Sunday, she would get little to no reaction. She's the intimidating force that doesn't have a whole lot to say. She's okay in the ring to good. And she's just, going to be the one to take the pinfall, and she's usually booked as a heel. So I think keeping her babyface, I think the fans have kind of opened their eyes to Tamina now. Tamina get the first ever Tamina chance on Sunday. I was really happy for her then. I'm with you. I want to see more from Tamina and Natalya. I think they are natural baby faces now because of the respect factor. End of story. Point 4, breakup in the New Day. I don't know about you, but during the Raw Tag title matches on Saturday, the team of AJ and Omos were getting a lot of crowd support, while the New Day were getting the New Day suck chants, while at the same time WWE tried to pump the New Day rocks chants over the live crowd. I actually didn't notice that. I'll have to go back and listen. The New Day are as stale as a loaf of bread that's 3 days old. It's time for the New Day to officially break up. I'm tired of this group and gimmick. I'm not going to cry or shed a tear when they do break up. I've been calling for their breakup, DJ, for years now, and I've come to learn that they'll never do it. Why won't they ever do it? Easy. Money. While the parents of the kids may be tired of the New Day, and they're tired of seeing them, and they're tired of the act. It's overplayed. It's overdone. It's well past its shelf life. I mean, it expired. It molded. It disintegrated, and then there's just dust left. I mean, I'm beyond sick of the New Day. And by the way, I think Big E coming out with the New Day at WrestleMania, just further ties Big E back into New Day, and I think muddies the waters from his separation from the New Day, which is key to his character, key to his progress and growth. Get the F away from the New Day, because people were starting to get you away and starting to differentiate you from the New Day. And then what do? Boom. You're right back with the New Day. And I understand he didn't stay ringside, which was good, but I don't know. I'm beyond it too. And I just think that, again, money is the reason, because they're a merchandise machine. To break up the New Day, I think, would hurt their wallet, which they're not going to do. And they could say that they're one of the few tag teams that never broke up. I don't think it's going to happen. Okay, Hulk Hogan needs to go away. That's point number 5. Everyone, including myself, are sick and tired of seeing Hulk Hogan on our TVs. I'm so happy that the live crowd was there to boo Hogan into infinity. The "what you gonna do, brother" line is so old and played out. Please, Hogan, ride out into the sunset and never return to WWE TV again. Yep. Look, I'm not wishing ill on Terry Bollea at all. He has been really one of the biggest reasons wrestling was as big as it is today. I don't know what wrestling would be without Terry Bollea and Hulk Hogan in the 80s and early 90s. I don't know. So he made an excellent, really an incalculable contribution to the wrestling business. But we are done with Hogan. We are over Hogan. Hogan needs to move into his retirement officially. I don't need, if he wants to be in part of a documentary, interviewing, being interviewed about certain people's careers or questions or big topics, that's fine. He can be on the WWE network. That's cool. Like, I understand they should utilize the Hulk Hogan name. Maybe even put him on the Stone Cold Broken Skull Sessions. I think Hogan on that podcast would be very interesting. Hogan on a podcast or doing interviews is totally cool. I'm sure he's got a zillion stories and it'd be awesome to hear. That's fine. But Hogan on WWE TV is done over, I agree. And they booed him. And I don't know if they booed him as loud as maybe it was coming through. I wonder if WWE messed with that. Okay, point 6. You say the Fiend storyline and character is a mess. First and foremost, the Fiend comes back to WrestleMania at a B-rated pay-per-view called Fastlane, which doesn't make sense. Yep, I agree, number 1, and I was one of the few that was not happy about him returning at Fastlane. Then you, WWE, book him to face Orton in a regular wrestling match at WrestleMania with no stipulations, which doesn't make sense, since the Fiend is not a wrestler. He's a supernatural being, which for some unexplained reason, he can revert back to his former self with a slightly new mask. I digress. The match was horrible, and the ending was a crap fest on a list of other crappy matches like the 2019 Hell in a Cell match with Rollins and the 2020 Super Showdown in Saudi with Goldberg. I digress. Yep. And the reason I'm thinking that he didn't appear at WrestleMania and they waited, now that I'm thinking about it, and we have all got 2020 hindsight, is because the outfit he debuted in at Fastlane was not wrestling friendly. So if he was going to compete at WrestleMania and he had that outfit, the burn outfit with the burn skin look, as cool as that was, and he couldn't compete in it, well then you got to debut him before and then have a reason why he transformed back to the way he was in an outfit he can wrestle in. So I understand the reason why now, because it's all about I think the mobility and the outfit. If it's not, bad job out of WWE. Okay, point number 7, it's good to be a heel. For the most part, this year's WrestleMania has been dominated by heels. This shows good booking and investment in longer storylines while keeping the babyfaces in chase mode. Reigns is at the top of his game as being a newly crowned top heel in WWE, and in my eyes, there's no way that Roman ends his reign, as champion anytime soon. Bobby Lashley, whether you call him a heel or not, is on the best run of his career as the WWE champion, and with MVP by his side, there's no way he can be beat. That's all I got. Stay tuned for my upcoming voicemails later in the show. Well, there you go. You self-promoted on my show, and we will look forward to hearing you in just a few minutes. But, so, yes, the baby faces in chase mode, always a good combination. Always, always, always. Yes, you absolutely need the baby faces to finally overcome and climb that mountain and get there. But heel champions is always money. Why? Because people want to pay to see heels get their ass whipped. It's a tried and true formula. It's tested through the annals of time that wanting to see good overcome evil is in our nature. So when the good overcomes evil, it's kind of like, cool, you have your moment, but it doesn't last long. That thrill of the chase is usually what keeps people coming back. So good point. All right, DJ, we'll look forward to those voicemails. And let's see, do we have any more emails? Let's see. Oh, okay, yeah. One more, it looks like. This is from Sharon. I believe he also has a voicemail coming, but he says, "Hi, Matt. One more thing. Please let me know what you think on the Chris Jericho Broken Skull sessions. I think it was interesting. Do you think we can see Cruz brand new or do you think we can see cross-brand AEW and WWE projects? I think this is as close to a cross-promotion project you're going to see, number one. And I did like the Chris Jericho Broken Skull sessions with Austin. Austin does an excellent job. I was surprised that this happened. I think all of us were like, wait, what? Jericho's on WWE? What? But I think it's a smart idea. And it also speaks to, and this is from CM Punk, and he's got a good point. CM Punk commented on this. CM Punk said that this shows, it really sends a message to everyone that Vince is not scared of AEW. If Vince really looked at AEW as a threat, do you think Chris Jericho would be on the WWE podcast? Or, the WWE network? The answer is no. He would not be on the WWE network if Vince viewed AEW as true competition. So that's, again, I'm not saying they're not true competition. I think that's Vince's message by allowing this. And it's a good point by CM Punk. I'm not going to take credit for it. So, all right. Let's see if that does it with the emails. Just kind of scanning things. I think it does. So, with that being said, I'm going to go in chronological order. Again, these are from the emails, email voicemails, which, by the way, you can email questions or email your voicemail to realwwepodcast@gmail.com. And we'll give you that phone number in just a few minutes as well. So, okay, let's get to those voicemails and see what you guys had to say.
Hi Matt, this is Sharon from Israel. I'm just calling you to tell you my little thoughts about WrestleMania. I mean, overall it was a pretty good WrestleMania. We had some title changes. The champions that we thought that will have the championship after the event still holding it. So yeah, I mean, I kind of have a feeling that in the last couple of weeks, the old WWE become really expected. I mean, I pretty much know what's going to happen. I mean, after the Raw, after Mania, the big returns were Charlotte, the Viking Raiders, and it was like, yeah, I knew that Charlotte will come back, and nothing really happened. And again, we are going to see Lashley versus McIntyre. And this is the thing that really bothered me. Because I think, we have just one more here until the next WrestleMania. And probably until that we won't have anything really special in WWE. I know, it really seems in the last few months that WWE didn't put a lot of effort in doing creating and keeps the fans at the middle. They are just don't want to that we will be really have good time when we see wrestling. Yeah, I don't know, it was a little bit of a rant, but yeah. Okay, thank you. See you another time. Bye.
All right. Well, Sharon, thank you. And I appreciate your call. And it seems like you were a little bit down on the creative going into WrestleMania, and it doesn't feel like they had anything really special. I understand that. I understand that view, because WrestleMania didn't have a lot of star power, as I mentioned earlier, but we had to eventually make that transition. We had to eventually make the transition from relying on the big stars and the household names to today's talent and creating those new stars. And I think this year was that transition year, outside of Edge, of course. There needed to be that time, and this year, I think, was that time. So, I think that at the same time, WWE, the wrestlers, the performers themselves, actually overcame a lot of the bad creative. I think a lot of them overachieved in the matches that they had. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, are just to name a couple. They overcame bad stories to have good matches and made you not care about the bad creative going in. So I think that definitely helps when you have the effort of the wrestlers. When they can't control the creative, they can control at least what happens in the ring. So definitely a way to get around the bad creative. All right, we have some breaking news. And I was going to do a whole nother podcast on this, but I feel like I'm just going to mention it now. And that is WWE releasing a lot of another mass release, guys. And that is WWE about 40 minutes ago tweeted out that they released. Oh boy, they've come to terms on the release of Billie Kay and Mickie James, and then they also tweeted out 15 minutes later they've come to terms on the release of Samoa Joe, Chelsea Green, Tucker, Kalisto, Bo Dallas, and Wesley Blake. Oh, it doesn't stop there. Then, 28 minutes ago, WWE came to terms on the release of Peyton Royce. Yeah, there could be more. Another Black April Day in WWE. This is one of those every week, every year it hits. And wow, I'm surprised about Billie Kay. Mickie James, I'm not. I mean, no one's really going to shed a tear. She had her day, but let's be honest. Billie Kay, I think that's a mistake. Obviously, Peyton Royce, a mistake. Samoa Joe, he could have at least got back in the ring. I think he could be headed to AEW. I think he'd be a really good fit. Chelsea Green, amazing athlete. Tucker, his heel turn went nowhere. You remember that? Remember when he turned on Otis and it just went nowhere? I do. Kalisto, Bo Dallas, Wesley Blake, man. So breaking news, guys. Breaking news with Samoa Joe, Chelsea Green, Tucker, Kalisto, Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, Mickie James, and more are probably on the chopping block. Yikes. Ugh. It's always hard to see this time of year, especially for the talent. But all right. Well, let's get to that next voicemail, guys, because let's keep things positive and rolling here.
Hey Matt, this is Jeff from the Philippines. So my favorite match from WrestleMania was the triple threat match between Roman Reigns, Edge, and Daniel Bryan. And it was a total carnage. Jey Uso interfering early in that match. Edge doing the concerto. Roman Reigns power bombing Daniel Bryan through the announce table. Man, there was so much carnage in that match, and I think it was the right decision to make Roman Reigns retain the Universal Championship. And you see, I wanted to see Roman Reigns held that championship maybe until 2022, no, decades ago, and there used to be championships held for years in the WWE, and I want to see Roman Reigns held the Universal Championship for a long time. And for me, I think the Universal Championship hasn't reached the height of what the World Heavyweight Championship has gotten. We all know it's the secondary main event championship in the WWE, and I think it still hasn't got what the World Heavyweight Championship reached in terms of prestige, even though the Universal Championship has been around now for 5 years. And in the tag team championship, the New Day versus AJ Styles and Omos. I think the New Day strategy in that match was a very heelish tactic. Much like a divide and conquer, they tried to separate AJ Styles from making a tag, and almost most of the scenarios in that match, and there's so much double team from Kofi and Xavier Woods, just really trying to stop AJ Styles from making the tag to Almost, and Almost did look very dominant. And that's all, Matt. Stay safe. Bye.
Hey, Jeff. Always great to hear from you all the way from the Philippines. A good point about Omos, AJ Styles, and the New Day at WrestleMania regarding how they were booked, right? The New Day, if they were a truly babyface team, they were trying to cut the ring in half. I mean, as the old adage goes. And they were definitely acting more like the heel team, yet they're booked as babyface against a heel, AJ Styles and Omos. I would argue the roles are reversed. The people wanted to see Omos. They love the pairing of AJ and Omos. They have good chemistry. The size difference is hilarious. I think that you're absolutely right. And I don't know why the Hurt Business couldn't have been in that position, but it had to be the New Day apparently because they felt the New Day would have anointed them in a way that the Hurt Business couldn't have. I would argue different, but apparently Vince did not think that way, and it was it wasn't the best match in the world, no doubt about that. It was okay, but it was all about Omos. What can he do in the ring? And we got our answer. He's limited, but he's okay for his size. So good observations, Jeff. Thanks as always. Hope to hear from you very soon. All right. Well, now normally I don't go back to messages, but one of our patrons did just email us, and since it's in the middle of my recording, I do want to make sure that he gets himself into the show. So this is from Uncle Chris. And Uncle Chris has a lot to say. But he says that, thank you for all your great podcasts, and your co-hosts are awesome. Well, thank you. About The Fiend and Alexa. Alexa reaches her hand. That's why in the moment he lost his power. Probably. Yeah. That's probably why, but they never explained it. Did they? I don't think they did. If they did, it was in passing, and they didn't explain, even if that's the case, that he lost his power at that moment. Why? How does that gesture make him lose his power? They didn't really bother to really expand. You say also, the very white mask also shows that he's probably going for a face run. Maybe. I don't know if the Fiend's ever really been defined as a babyface or heel, though. He's kind of in between, and the tweener deal, right? He's cool, but he's evil. So is he heel or face? We don't know. He was booked as a babyface on WrestleMania against Orton, I would think. But yeah, he could go for a true face run. We'll see. Alexa was like the urn for The Undertaker, who also lost his power after being kind of untouchable. Yeah, that's a good analogy. The Fiend could be established as a normal mystic, mythical, but not too powerful character. Yeah, he does need to pull back his power. I would also say that they've now done two extremes where nothing beats him and one RKO beats him. They got to find that happy medium. So you say that, but this story is not ended for sure. For now, they may go their own path for a while. Agreed. And then you talk about the breaking news about Samoa Joe, Billy Kay. That's strange and disgusting. Again, to me, there's no reason to do that, especially in these times. But, well, here we go again. Our love and hate for WWE. Bryan and Edge did not win. That they didn't win was the best decision. To give that even more huge win to a babyface who gets over, it should be someone who will stay in WWE longer. Agreed. Edge and Bryan, they're on borrowed time. And I agree that Roman Reigns is more the future than Edge and Bryan. That's a good observation. So take care, and all greetings from Switzerland. Thank you, Uncle Chris. I apologize this wasn't at the beginning of the show, but you got me about 30 minutes in. So I'll be messaging you and letting you know that it's here. It's here. So, okay, let's continue with those voicemails.
Hey, man, this is Justin from Maryland. I'm a little late this week, so I'm sure you'll answer these next week, but I just had a couple of thoughts for you. So I was listening to the mailbag just now, and someone brought up how when they try to start feuds, they'll like put the opponents like in a tag team, like how they did it with John Cena and Shawn Michaels before their WrestleMania match a couple years ago. Well, what couple years ago, a while ago, but they did it with Karrion Kross and Finn Balor. I don't know why, but they've been doing that forever. So do you agree with that format that they try to do? Because I mean, they've been doing it for a while now. I feel like that they should try and, I guess, do it a different way. So I just wanted your thoughts on that. And also, Seth Rollins. So I think we all can agree that he's probably going to lose to Cesaro at WrestleMania. So because you don't really talk about him that much. So where do you see him going? We know he's a good in ring, he's good promo, but he doesn't really have a clear direction right now. He's just in this little feud with Cesaro that's probably going to end up WrestleMania. So where do you see him going, or where do you want? What do you want to see him do? Do you want to see him be champion again? I'm sure he'll be world champion at least 2-3 times before he retires. So you want to see him go after a world champion? Who do you want to see him feud with? Daniel Bryan, Big E? He definitely has a lot of people who he hasn't had matches with in a long time or yet. So just want your thoughts on that too. And thanks. I'll talk to you next week for sure. I can't wait for WrestleMania, and I'll talk to you next week.
Hey, Justin. Thank you for calling the show. As always, it's really great to hear your voice and hear your opinions and your questions. Okay, well, as far as agreeing with the format of putting foes in a tag team before bringing them together in a program to face one another, as you said, they've been doing this forever. And it's a formula that works. It's just not original. So I guess you have to take your pick and what you prioritize, depending on whether you think if just because it works, they should continue to do it, or maybe they should find another way to do it. Now, this is not how all programs start, of course. I mean, there's programs that start in various different ways, but this is one of the more popular ones. I think putting together, for example, Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair in a tag team for several weeks on 2 different pay-per-views to challenge for the women's tag team titles, I'm not a fan of, because you ultimately know that they probably aren't going to win the tag titles, and it's just to ramp up the tension between the two. So I'm not a fan of that. But with Finn Balor and Karrion Kross, it's a tried and true formula. Again, it depends on what bothers you and what doesn't. But to me, I think that changing things up once in a while, or at least not making that the dominant fashion in which a lot of programs have. As far as Cesaro, what direction? Well, as you know, this is obviously sent before WrestleMania, and Cesaro did win. So I've brought this up a few times over the last several days, week really now. I've been doing podcasts for like a week straight. I'm not bragging. I'm actually exhausted. But I think that where he's going and where we want him to go could be 2 different things. Where do I want him to go? Of course, to the Universal title picture, or at least in the conversation, at least in a number 1 contenders match, which I believe that WWE will have some kind of fatal 4-way or 3-way for the Universal Championship in terms of number 1 contendership. But I don't think that's going to happen until after Backlash, WrestleMania Backlash, because with a pay-per-view name like WrestleMania Backlash, you have to well, you don't have to, but it implies that a lot of the programs you saw at WrestleMania are going to repeat themselves in various forms and fashions at WrestleMania Backlash. Otherwise, why the hell are we naming it WrestleMania Backlash? It would just be plain old Backlash. So I don't think that Cesaro is going to, for example, be in the title picture for a little while, probably another month, next pay-per-view, Money in the Bank, after WrestleMania Backlash. Same with Big E. I think Big E is going to challenge Apollo one more time at WrestleMania Backlash and lose. Maybe Cesaro puts himself in that picture too. Maybe Cesaro and Big E and Apollo Crews get themselves in a triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania Backlash. I think maybe that's the extra wrinkle for them. And once Apollo Crews retains at Backlash, one would assume, those two move on to bigger and better things in the Universal title picture with Roman Reigns. Because you would assume also Roman Reigns is still going to be tied up in some form or fashion with Daniel Bryan and Edge. Again, this is like the cleanup from WrestleMania. It's the hangover from WrestleMania. You gotta clean up from the night before, as they say. And that's what this is going to be. This pay-per-view is going to be. So I expect big things from Cesaro. I will be very, very disappointed if they don't do anything with this victory. So, okay, let's keep going, guys.
Hey, Matt, how about that Bad Bunny match? Not going to lie, I thought that was going to be the worst match of the night. I thought he was going to, just embarrass, Miz and Morrison. What's the word? Just, not take any bumps and then give, 2 punches in a frog splash and call it a match. No, this man showed his worth to me. He just earned my respect. And I think I'm willing to say so far, well, I say so far because there's one more match, but they stole the show. So congrats to all 4 men involved. They all did really well. And that's about it, man. I'm currently watching Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. While I'm on the phone here, let me just say, very upset that Drew didn't win back the title in front of the fans that I thought he would. Or like I thought he would. And, it is what it is, man. But, hope you guys are enjoying WrestleMania. Can't wait for night 2 tomorrow. I love being on Patreon. Thanks so much, man. Y'all have a great day. And hey to everybody else in the WWE podcast universe. All right. See you, man.
Hey, so I don't think you stated your name from Patreon, but thank you for your patronage. And yeah, Bad Bunny, look, I ate my words all week as far as how good I thought he'd be in the ring. The storyline I will stand behind was god-awful. I think he was a terrible babyface. I think he was an obnoxious heel. I still have a rule of thumb that I do not like celebrity involvement in wrestling at all, as a general rule. But if you're going to do it, make it memorable. And if you're going to do it, put 100% in, 110%. And that's what Bad Bunny did. And I'm going to give him all the credit in the world for not embarrassing himself and really showing and raising the bar for celebrity involvement at WrestleManias now. I mean, I don't think we'll see a performance like that again from any celebrity. It was really good. I give Bad Bunny all the credit in the world for putting in the work. He did. I mean, you don't get that good that quick without busting your ass, as I've said. So, credit. But I know you said that was the match of the night, and you said you were watching Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. I have a feeling that your match of the night may have changed. Was I right? Yeah. And as far as Drew not winning, I am okay with that. I know that everybody wants, and some people felt that he got gypped out of a moment with his fans. I think there's a bigger moment waiting in the wings for Drew. Because, yeah, the fans were there, and it kind of felt like WrestleMania because the fans were back. But to me, I still want an 80,000 people stadium packed. I don't want partial capacity and all these restrictions and limitations, and I want the full real deal. And obviously, with a pandemic going on, they could only fill at a third of the capacity. I believe 25,000 out of it was like 80-some thousand. So I get it, but I want a full packed arena, a packed stadium. That to me will be the moment when wrestling is really back, when the fans are able to just pack to the rafters again on a regular weekly basis. And that's to me what I'm really looking forward to. So I think he'll have the moment again with a packed stadium and a sellout crowd at a WrestleMania, and Drew has his moment coming. Okay, so I'm not worried about that. But okay, thanks again, and let's keep the train moving on.
Hey man, this is Justin from Maryland. Just got a quick couple of thoughts on WrestleMania. First is The Fiend. So, I can't say that I was mad. I was more disappointed because the fact that they brought him back after 4 months, you give him a new look, and then he loses to one RKO. Like, I just don't understand the booking anymore. Like, you had him lose to Goldberg, then, you know, he lost to Randy Orton. Like, they've completely killed, I don't want to say they completely killed the character, but he's damaged. Like, I don't want to see him with a world title right now. Like, they have to completely build him back up. So, I don't know, man. The triple threat match, that was probably the best match on the card. I definitely wanted Roman to win, and he did. So I'm just interested to see where they go next with that, and I definitely hope to see Edge and Daniel Bryan. All right, thanks, man.
All right, well, Justin's back for a Night 2 recap. So as far as the main event of WrestleMania Night 2, that was certainly the match of the night in my mind, too. It was compelling. It was believable. Everybody had a hope spot. It was a really, really good match, and it's exactly what Roman Reigns needed to continue on this run that I think is above everything and everyone else, as it should be. So props to all involved there. The Fiend and Randy Orton, disappointing is one way to put it. I think you bring up something that, you know, is a good point, because the Fiend, I don't want to see him on a title run either. I don't even know what the Fiend is anymore. You know, like I feel like the Fiend is doesn't have a defined structure to him anymore. He's becoming less interesting in my mind. And that's sad, considering how awesome it was to see the burn skin Fiend, and you're thinking, oh my God, this is awesome. And then he sheds the skin, which was the coolest part of his return. And he's back to basically what he was wearing before. Yeah, some tweaks to his outfit and his mask, but it wasn't the Bray Wyatt that I was hoping for. And he loses to one RKO. And I don't know who or what he is anymore. He's so ill-defined. He can't be beat by anything, and then he can be beat by a single move. Pick a lane. I don't think WWE can pick a lane with this guy. And it's a little bit disheartening, I'll be honest. So, yeah, I don't know where they're going with the Fiend either. And I'm becoming more and more concerned as we go on here. So, all right. Thank you, Justin. Let's keep things going here.
Hey, it's Kyle from Ultimate. Last night and Saturday, it was cool to see the fans there again. It was awesome to see. I don't know if it happened to on Raw to still be in the Thunderdome or not. I don't know, but my thing is that to see that Bianca and Rhea are the champions of our Raw and SmackDown. It's cool to see, and the fact that Sasha and Bianca will defeat each other moving forward. So just have this feud with each other. Looking forward to it, and that match was amazing. And looking forward to seeing how Bianca does as champion. But that was just it. Thanks for the call.
Kyle, hope you enjoyed WrestleMania. It sounds like you did, especially with the finishes of the women's championship matches. And I'm looking forward to. I got to say, I'm really looking forward to Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, tying it up again. And I think they will at WrestleMania Backlash. But they have big shoes to fill. That's not a performance they can easily duplicate. I don't think. It's something sometimes that happens that's magic. And when you try to recreate magic, oftentimes you end up with pretend magic. And I'm not saying that they can't. I'm just thinking that it's going to be more difficult than people realize. And now the bar is set so high, it's almost unachievable. So, again, this is all assuming that at WrestleMania Backlash, they're going to tie up again. One would think when you name a pay-per-view after the previous pay-per-view that there are going to be major ties into that particular pay-per-view. I mean, just using our logical brains here. So, with that said, yeah, I'm glad that you enjoyed WrestleMania. The women certainly showed off, and it's with a few exceptions, of course. And it was a great night for the women. I'll say that. And you could argue that Bianca Sasha was the match of the night, even against the triple threat. An argument could be made for that. So, okay, let's keep things going.
Oh, hey, Matt, it's Bevan from Brisbane, Australia here. Before I start off, thanks so much for all the hard work you guys have done with your preview shows and your 2 review shows. They've been great. It's really made it a fun week to listen to. And I must say, after last week saying I wasn't really looking forward to WrestleMania, the matches were awesome, bar a few, but you've covered that in some of your reviews. I've only started listening to your Night 2 review of the Botch Guys, so I'm just going to go ahead with one of my other things. I just saw when Roman Reigns won his match, Edge was on his back, so his shoulders were pinned, and then Daniel Bryan was flopped on top of him, and then Roman Reigns pinned them both. My initial thoughts was, because Daniel's on top of Edge, hasn't Daniel pinned Edge? And therefore, shouldn't Daniel have won? Because we've seen in the past that someone will just flop a limp body over someone whose shoulders are down, but in the count 1, 2, 3, and they've won. So yeah, just thought that was interesting. I might be wrong. I'm not sure really how it all works sometimes, but I just thought there that hadn't Daniel won that match? So yeah, interesting there. Also, the theme, Randy Orton was, I loved the start of the entrances. They were awesome, but then it all just went wrong. Yeah, I was also trying to see, I know when the Fiend's got his mask on, you can see Bray Wyatt's tattoo around the back of his ear. I can't recall which ear, but I couldn't see that tattoo. So that's why I was just wondering whether that was Bray Wyatt. So, yeah, again, the red light might have hidden it as well, so I'm not sure. Other than that, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that there was more of the heels winning. There was definitely a heel-heavy victories in the belts, which I enjoyed. I'm more of a heel fan anyway. And, yeah, I felt sorry for Bayley getting taken out after all the hard work she's done during the pandemic, and then she basically got treated like garbage, I think. Yeah, but anyway, those are my thoughts. And thanks again for an awesome show that you guys have put on. And, yeah, have a good one. Yeah, mate. Bye.
Hey, Bevan, I'm glad you enjoyed WrestleMania more than you thought. I think a lot of us felt that way, and I was saying that in the week leading up to Mania, that so many people were looking down at WrestleMania with a little bit of disappointment and concern that it's going to be an awful WrestleMania. A lot of star power was missing that typically is there. We've talked about that. And the storylines going into them, some of them were just bad. Some of the storylines were just bad, which brings you down. But lo and behold, here we are after WrestleMania thinking, wow, that was actually not that bad, right? And that is credit to the performers. That's not credit to creative. That's not credit to Vince. That's the credit 100% going to the wrestlers in the ring, the performers. The wrestlers, damn it. I'm not going to speak corporate language. The wrestlers. The wrestlers in the ring are the ones that made the magic in the ring. So, credit to them. So as far you bring up some good points. Number one, the heel heavy outcomes. Yeah, this is probably one of the most heel heavy outcomes of WrestleMania I've ever seen. And that's a good thing. Man, am I a heel fan. I love a good heel. And I don't mean I love a good heel in that I would cheer them ironically or because they're doing a good job. The best thing you can do when you think a heel is doing a great job and you actually want them to win is to boo them. It's the best compliment you can give them. So I will say that, and that's a good point, and I'm glad, again, that you enjoyed it more than you thought. I think many people felt that way. So, 2 things. The last 2 points you brought up. Was it Bray Wyatt? Somebody else brought this up to me. I think it was, and that wasn't alluded to on Monday Night Raw, that it wasn't him, that it was an imposter or something like that, or a shell of himself, and I mean, it was never brought up. So, I think we can disregard that, but somebody else brought that up, and even if it, wasn't supposed to be storyline wise, it was somebody filling in for Bray, we would have heard it. I didn't hear anything about it. So I think we can probably squash that. As far as the triple threat goes with whose shoulders were down and who pinned who and everyone's on top of everyone, I would defer you to the Botch Guy's YouTube channel because he did a nice breakdown of this for the triple threat main event. And he alluded to the WWE rulebook, this mythical rulebook that exists in our minds. But no, really, apparently the WWE rules do say that if if a competitor's on the ring, on their back, and somebody is covering them, but then somebody else is covering them, and the guy's shoulders, both men's shoulders are down, the man on top wins, even though the man in the middle is technically covering the man on the bottom. So, per WWE rules, that's how things go. According to the botch guy, I didn't Google this myself. I'm taking him as face value, but I think that's a good question, and I'm sure many people have that same question. I don't know if they'll take that story on SmackDown. They might. That could be a nice way to bring it to Adam Pearce's attention and do a technicality type of, hey, we need a rematch. We didn't get a conclusive winner. You broke the rules and the referee missed it. It's possible. It's possible. This SmackDown is going to be very interesting tomorrow night. Very interesting. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night's SmackDown. There's a lot of questions to be answered, and SmackDown blew away Raw when it came to WrestleMania matches. So, thank you so much, Bevan, and I will talk to you next week, I hope.
Hello, WWE Podcast World. This is none other than yours truly, DJ Kuzmo. If you are listening to the sound of my voice, you have survived a crazy, wild, wall-to-wall week of wrestling. So, I just want to share some of my thoughts from WrestleMania Night 1. First and foremost, Lashley retains, and still your WWE Champion, Bobby Lashley. I'm so happy that Bobby Lashley and his almighty era is continuing. I hope to see this continue all the way probably to SummerSlam, but I'm enjoying this run for Bobby Lashley. I'm still heartbroken that the Hurt Business is no more, but Bobby Lashley, still our WWE Champion. AJ and Omos. If you heard the crowd, the pop from the crowd that AJ and Omos got, it was like, man, these guys deserve to be the new tag team champions. We had enough of the New Day with the millions and millions of title opportunities that the New Day has gotten. It's time for a change, and I'm so happy that AJ and Omos are the new tag team champions. Last but not least, I want to talk about none other than Bianca Belair. She is our new SmackDown Women's Champion, and unlike Night 2 with Asuka versus Rhea Ripley, in this match with Sasha and Bianca, great match. At first, I really thought that Sasha was going to retain because I saw, that Bianca was getting emotional. But as the match progressed, Bianca was hitting her spots, and I'm so happy that Bianca is the new champion. And just to see the response from her family, her dad coming over the barricade, it was just a thing of beauty. So this is what you call a WrestleMania moment. So this is all that I got for me right now. I'll be back.
This guy he must have gone to promo school. This guy has got a promo voice, doesn't he? I mean, it's a compliment, my friend. You've got a radio voice, and there's no doubt about it. So maybe WWE can learn a thing or two from you. Lashley retains. Yes, he does, sir. Yes, he does. And I think most fans, whether you love him or hate him, respect Bobby Lashley, and they acknowledge and understand the reasoning for it. I don't think there's outrage that Drew didn't win. We saw him win last year, and he carried the championship for the better part of a year. Yeah, he didn't get it in front of fans. I said that before, but he will get his time, and it'll be in front of 80,000 fans in a stadium screaming. He will have it. It's just delayed gratification. AJ and Omos. Yes, it is. You made me think of something when you said enough is enough with New Day getting their opportunities. It made me think of Owen Hart, right? Enough is enough, and it's time for a change. Back in 98 when he was doing that, it just made me think of Owen Hart. So yeah, AJ and Omos, no doubt about it. They're, I think, a breath of fresh air when it comes to the tag teams, and I think they've got a decent run in them. We'll have to see if the inevitable is going to happen where Omos breaks from AJ and Omos goes on to be a bigger star. We'll see. I don't know how well Omos moves in the ring with a one-on-one situation. I don't know how good he is on the mic. There's a lot of question marks around Omos, and they can right now hide his weaknesses because his size and his look and AJ on the mic protect him. So perhaps AJ is picking up picking up where the weaknesses of Omos leave him off. It's possible. Maybe they'll keep them together longer than we think. But I'm digging it. I'm digging it too. And I just don't understand why the New Day had to be the one to drop the belts rather than the Hurt Business, who got relegated to the Viking Raiders this past Monday night. It makes zero sense. Zero. It's awful for the New Day, particularly Shelton and Cedric Alexander. So, all right. Well, I think this next voicemail is still from DJ, so I might as well just do him back to back here and get his night 2 reactions. Let's do this.
This is the DJ Kuzmo back at it again, double dipping style on this WrestleMania Night 2. So let's talk about what we just saw in the very first match. What in the world did we see with The Fiend versus Randy Orton? After 4 or 5 months of this lingering storyline, the finish is that The Fiend gets distracted by Alexa Bliss, and then out of nowhere, which the crowd did see, he get RKO'd. Come on! What a crappy finish, and the fans deserve to boo the hell out of this thing. But I digress. Now, let's talk about Apollo Crews. I'm surprised that Apollo, got the victory and is the new champion. A lot of people were saying that Big E, in front of his hometown crowd, was going to get that home field advantage and become the new champion, but to no avail. We get none other than Daba Kato. WWE announcers, hello, his name is Daba Kato. You can Google search and you'll find that this unbeknownst huge guy who used to be in the Raw Underground, his name is Daba Kato. But other than that, I'm happy that Apollo Crews is the new IC champion. It seems like Vince and WWE Creative are investing in prolonging his run as the IC champion. And last but not least, what a wild finish. What a wild finish to this triple threat match. I have to say, man, at first I really thought that Edge was going to win. Then last few minutes before the match started, I was like, man, maybe Daniel Bryan may win. But unbeknownst to the crowd, none other than Roman Reigns, the head of the table, the tribal chief, raises his hand in the air with the Universal title and is still our champion. What a great finish to end WrestleMania 37. I'll talk to you next time.
Well, there he is, my friends. He's back for a double dip, as he says. And yes, so The Fiend and Orton, I have beaten this into a bloody pulp for my opinion on it. It was inexcusable. It's made no sense. There's really there's nothing that anyone can say that would be like, oh, okay, because you know why? We got a follow-up on Monday night that did not help at all. Nothing. I mean, Alexa has Lily. Okay, well, if you didn't want The Fiend to come back and the darkness was stopping you, why'd you bring him back? And the logic is just, out the window. So yeah, it was, I literally said out loud, what the was that, right? I think a lot of us did. Apollo Crews and Big E in his hometown, right? Tampa. Well, here's the thing. Number one, a lot of people that go to WrestleMania are not local, I think. I'd venture to guess, 25%, 30% of the people that are there are actually locals in Tampa that go there. I think a lot of them fly in, particularly for WrestleMania. The ticket prices were through the roof. There's a lot of costs associated with it, hotels and so forth, meals and everything else that goes with it. So that being said, though, he is technically still in his hometown, even if the resident fans aren't the majority there. I think that it's a perfect opportunity to have Apollo gain more heat by beating Big E in his hometown. I know that we're all looking at it as that was his hometown. He could have got an amazing title retention. Well, he's had the title for a little while, not a particularly long run, but he's had it for a while, and it's not like he's winning it for the first time. So why not get the heel heat on Apollo, who has been on fire lately? So that's how I look at that. And the main event, as you know, I've also beaten that. I've beaten everything to death at this point. People are tired of hearing me talk about WrestleMania. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. Excellent main event. I can't complain. I really can't about the main event. Both main events for both nights were perfection. I mean, as far as choosing which match goes on last, it was exactly what it should have been. So, all right, DJ. Hope to hear from you soon. And we're getting to that next caller.
Hey, Matt, it's Kyle from New York. And WrestleMania, I enjoyed it. I think it was pretty good pay-per-view overall. Both nights. Night one was definitely a little better because The Fiend got ruined. But I watched both nights and I enjoyed it. Your review with the Bosch guy for both nights, I pretty much agree with everything you said for both nights. First off, let me just say, like, I know I've said in the past I have a crush on Sasha Banks, and I have for many years. I don't know what it is. You might not agree with my opinion. But, like, every time she changes her hair color, she looks attractive. Like, whether it's the pink hair, the purple hair, the red hair from NXT, the blue hair, or that mixture of blue and green she had in WrestleMania. It looked good. I don't know why I liked it. But anyway, first off, Bad Bunny, I agree with you. Props to him. Bad Bunny, I felt the exact same way as you did about him. I thought I wanted him off TV forever, and I didn't even know who he was until the Royal Rumble. I'm with you. I didn't even know who he was. But holy cow, he did freaking amazing in that match at WrestleMania. Holy crap. So massive respect for him. Logan Paul, I actually do watch him sometimes, but not a lot. Like, every now and then. I don't really, like, follow him. So anyway, my favorite things of both nights, the 2-minute events. My least favorite thing, The Fiend Randy Orton, because The Fiend got ruined, and I hated that. Really badly. But, anyway, so I know everyone's talking about the 2-minute events, so happy Roman retained. I mean, I agree with you. The fans, I mean, could want Edge to win, but Roman has such a good reign going. I mean, I'm glad he retained too. The big thing everyone's talking about is the 2-minute events. So what I'm wondering from you is, what do you think is next for Sasha Banks from the night 1 main event, and what do you think is next for Edge and Daniel Bryan from night 2's main event? Like what I'm saying is, what do you think is next for the people that weren't champions that didn't come out as champions in the 2-minute events? And before the 3 minutes runs out, that's all I'm gonna say. And thanks. I'll talk to you next week.
Hey, buddy, how you doing? I'm glad you also enjoyed WrestleMania. I think it surprised a lot of people again because we had such low expectations. So I haven't had anybody talk about Sasha's hair color. It did grab my eye as well. I would say, yeah. I mean, Sasha is Mercedes, her real name. I mean, she's such an attractive woman. I don't think it matters what she does with her hair. I mean, she could shave her head and we'd all, drool. I mean, as straight men, I mean, she is just a flat out attractive woman, no matter what she does. But she changes up her hair color just when it starts to feel stale, doesn't she? I got to say that. Her gear was great. Sasha is just an exceptional talent. And Bianca Belair is absolutely no slouch either. She's the future of the women's division, and I'm really, really looking forward to her and her reign that'll probably last a good 6 to 8 months, maybe more, depending on how things shake out over the summer. So as far as what's next for Sasha, I think, again, right in the short term, it's rematch with Bianca Belair. I think a rematch is coming. That'll happen at WrestleMania Backlash. And then beyond that, it's anybody's guess. Maybe she'll hang out in the title picture with other women, but we'll have to see. That's my guess, at least in the short term. The next pay-per-view, that's what my thought is. Same with Daniel Bryan and Edge. There might be another person injected into this match where Adam Pearce puts him in a fatal 4-way, and then Roman still survives. So that's probably where they're going again, is Daniel Bryan and Edge and Roman and a fourth competitor in that match, a third competitor with Roman, of course. So that's probably where they're going with that. Again, you got to remember, this is all going to be very heavily related to WrestleMania, given it's WrestleMania Backlash. So thank you so much, Kyle. Let's keep going. We only got a couple more.
Oh, hey, Matt, Bevan again. Sorry, just a second question this week. I noticed Samoa Joe wasn't on commentary on Raw this week, and they had another guy in there. I can't remember his name. He had a very high-pitched voice, so it kind of was a bit distracting. But I saw Corey Graves was on the team too, so I wonder if there's either a shuffle and Samoa Joe's gone to SmackDown. I guess we'll find out on Friday night. Or maybe Samoa Joe's coming back for a run. So I hope it's the latter. And yeah. Other than that, gotta have breakfast and hit the work. So have a couple of bro-nuts with my breakfast, I reckon. See you, mate. Bye.
You're killing me, Bevan, with your bro nuts. Please, that word is banned from this show. Anything with bro in the front of it is banned. Even the word brother, right? Like, even that, it's too close to the word bro. No. No bro nuts. Okay. Well, it's ironic that you ask. Obviously, this was sent to me before the news broke about Samoa Joe being released, along with many others. I mean, I addressed this around the 26, 27-minute mark in my show here. It's surprising. There's no doubt about it. Samoa Joe is released, along with the Iconics, along with Mickie James and others. So, Bo Dallas, it's that time of year where WWE trims the fat, as they'd probably say. So, boy, oh boy, I'm interested to hear what you guys think about the cuts that WWE made. So, all right. Well, guys, actually, that is the last of our voicemails. And I'm glad that everybody weighed in that wanted to. If you want to call us, by the way, if you're a new listener and you're like, how do I do this? Call in 518-952-0247 and we'll get you on the air as we did this mailbag show. We do it every week. I normally drop it on Wednesdays. With all the WrestleMania stuff going on in audio and my lack of sleep, I just couldn't put it out until Thursday night, which is when I'm posting this now. But this is how you get on the show. Just call us 518-952-0247 or email us at realwwepodcast@gmail.com. So, guys, this concludes and wraps up WrestleMania. This is the final, really, WrestleMania driven show that we will have until next year's WrestleMania, of course. But I get a few days off. I think it's well-deserved. And I will be back on Sunday night. I've already got a co-host lined up. So I'll be definitely doing the co-hosting with, I believe it's Michael Ritter will be joining me Sunday night, who does the SmackDown review every single Saturday morning is when I post it. Very well done. People love his show. That's why we're bringing him on. He's going to be joining me Sunday night for a weekend review, and it'll just start to be finally a normal week of my podcasting. Sunday night to me is the reset. So I'll take a few days off. I hope you guys enjoy the show. Again, if you're interested in an ad-free experience, head on over to patreon.com/WWE podcast. Get yourself signed up for $1. Everything's ad-free. You get a shout out and a bunch of other stuff. So, okay, guys, thank you so much. It's been a blast throughout this WrestleMania week. And, we're all need to take a breath, sit back, relax, enjoy the post-Mania season. It may not be as bad as we all fear. I will say that. And maybe, just maybe, WWE starts touring again with real live fans on a weekly basis, starting, I think, probably in the fall. That's my guess. But, okay, thank you, everybody. And I'll talk to you next time.